Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, I have cancer. So do you, Gerhard. So do you, Anna. All of us do. Turns out we all have cancer cells circulating in our body right now, but thankfully, we have an immune system that gobbles them up before they get out of control. Today, I'm going to explain to you exactly what cancer is and how it develops in the physical body, how it develops in the non-physical body, and one experience that I've had in overcoming a cancer. Now, each of the cells in your body, they reproduce after a certain time period. So say you have your little liver cell. After about 6 weeks, it's going to reproduce into another cell. And the old cell is supposed to die off in a process of programmed cell death called apoptosis. Cancer occurs when that old cell doesn't die off. It stays alive. Something goes wrong with the programmed cell death. And then those cells keep multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. And that's what cancer is. Now, even if you can get a mass of 100 cells, 500 cells, your body can still gobble those up. Your white blood cells come along and eat those right up, and it's not a problem. The problem is when your immune system is depressed, say after years of eating a poor diet or being exposed to chemicals or toxins, all the various different causes of cancer, then those cancer cells can take advantage of that weakened immune system and keep growing and growing and growing. Once they get to 5,000 or 10,000 cells, kind of take on a life of their own. They create an acidic slime layer around them, and they start taking nutrients from the body. You're not even going to get a cancer diagnosis until those cells keep growing and growing till they reach 1 million cells, which is only the size of a pinhead. That's how cancer develops in the physical body. But I would argue that cancer can also develop in the non-physical body as well, in our mind, in our spirits. Anytime we're hanging on to fear or negativity or guilt, shame and blame, I'd argue that's a cancer. These negative emotions are supposed to come through us, and then we're supposed to let them go and move on. But what if we're holding on to that shame or that guilt for years? What if we're supposed to let it go like the old cell is supposed to die? The old cell is supposed to be let go. But instead we're hanging on to it and it's growing and growing. What you resist persists, they say. And the problem only gets worse and worse over time. One example in my own life that I recently just overcame was when I was a young boy, my mind made up a story. Made up a story that I wasn't good enough for my dad, that I wasn't worthy of his love, that I had to be something different in order for him to love me, that I couldn't be my true self. I don't know why my mind made up this story, but as I went through life, it gradually got worse and worse. I started getting more and more reserved and afraid to express my true self and to speak in front of audiences and to have my opinions. Because I was always worried about other people liking me. And I would argue that this was a cancer festering inside of me that detracted from my life for many years and my relationship with my dad. Till finally, just a few weeks ago, I was speaking with my business partner, Lucas. We were talking about my relationship with my dad and how I didn't really have open communication with him and how I wasn't honest with him. And he asked me, well, what has to be true for a son in relationship to a father? What has to be true for a son to be worthy of his father's love? And in that moment, I realized nothing. He's worthy enough just as he is. And it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I broke down crying right in that moment, talking with my partner. I called up my dad and I told him this. I broke down again. It was the most open and honest communication I've ever had with him. And I just felt so happy and so light and so free that I had let go of this thing that I'd been holding on to, that it was just made up in my mind for all these years. So I would encourage you to look in your own life. What's the cancer that you have that you're holding on to that you could just let go? It's really that simple. Thank you.
Well, that was pretty heavy. I'm glad everything is over and okay now.
Yeah.
You can always be honest with us.